court is now back in session. Witness, please testify to the court about everything you saw on the night of December 24th.
Right. Leave it to me. Please, Larry, don't mess this one up. I hate to admit it, but you're our last chance. Von Karma didn't even have time to prep his witness. I just hope Edgeworth is right about this being our big break.
The night of the murder.
That night, I was out in a boat on the lake. I was looking for something, and I found it. So I quietly slipped the boat back in at the Riddle Shop dock. Then, just as I was thinking about going home, I heard this bang. I looked out over the lake, but I didn't notice the boat. So after I heard that single gunshot, I went home.
That was an unusually vague testimony, even for this court. In any matter, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. What's wrong, Nick? It's Larry. I have no idea what he's going to say if I press him. I'm a little scared. Well, we've come this far. There's no way to go but forward, Nick.
Let's just press him on everything. Something wrong, Mr. Wright.
There were so many things wrong, I don't know where to begin. Well, okay. First of all, what time was it? Oh, it was after 11 when I went out in the boat. By that time, everyone had gone home for the night. So I waited until the coast was clear, so to speak. And why were you out on a boat at such a late hour? Let's just frame Larry for the murder. It seems like the logical thing to do here. Looking for something? Yeah.
Mr. Butts, what was it you were looking for?
What the witness was searching for is irrelevant. Most likely he was hunting for this Gordy. You know, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that were the truth. This is all irrelevant. Let's get it over with. Around what time was that? Well, let's see. I figured I was out searching for about an hour. I guess it was around 12 o'clock. Yeah.
You're not sure?
Hey, don't give me that face. I'm not some sort of human sundial, okay? People use watches. No, this is supposed to be 2016. People use smartphones these days, Larry. Where did the sound come from? Yeah, well, I wasn't too sure about that. I looked around, you know.
Did you look at the lake?
Yeah, I looked. Wasn't there a boat on the lake?
Order! Order! Well, Mr. Butts.
Whoa. Everybody just calm down, okay? I mean, it was real foggy that night. I'm not sure whether there was a boat out there or not. No, okay. No problem. That's just the most important part of this case. Single gunshot. So, you only heard one bang, correct? Because one of them was from the air... well, no, because the air thing wouldn't make... Yeah.
Huh. Well, Nick? It was a pretty wishy-washy testimony, wasn't it? I guess I should just start working on the contradictions. Sorry. I wish I could be more helpful. I wish I could call my sister. Yeah, just let Edgeworth go to jail. It'll save us a lot of trouble in future games. I mean, we could submit either the 3 times or the 2 gunshots. I mean, I guess I'd rather deal with Edgeworth than Montgomery, that's fair. So, he was back before 1150. I guess we'll question the single gunshot first. Wait a sec, Larry.
What?
You only heard 1 bang? You're sure?
That's what I said.
But Miss Lotta Hart testified yesterday that she heard 2 bangs. And the old man just now said the same thing. They both heard 2 gunshots that night.
Huh?
Were you even listening? Were you paying attention at all to what they said?
Yo, Nick, please.
Huh?
You know, something's been bothering me. I'm a witness, see? I'm like a customer here. So you gotta treat me nice and stuff, okay?
Yeah. Mr. Butts!
What?
You only heard 1 gunshot. Are you sure? I'll ask the same questions Phoenix did. Catch you later, old man.
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure.
Not sure? How could you not be sure?
Yeah, well, I might have missed the other gunshot. I was, listening to something else.
Something else?
My radio, dude, on my headphones.
What? Order! Order! And stop that booing! Mr. Butts, you were listening to a radio on earphones?
Yeah, so what? That a crime? I listen to my radio. Everybody listens to the radio. What's the big deal?
Mr. Von Karma, your opinion. Waste of time. I do not accept this witness nor his shoddy testimony. Well, Mr. Wright, should he continue the testimony? Yeah, sure. Your Honor, please allow the witness to continue his testimony. Bah! Nothing is more pitiful than a lawyer who doesn't know then he's lost. Very well, Mr. Butts. Please give your testimony, and be sure to include details like your radio.
Right. Leave it to me.
I wouldn't if there were any other way out of this, believe me. What Larry heard.
It's lonely, being alone on Christmas Eve. That's why I was listening to an all-request show on the radio, see? I was listening to it real booming loud, like. But I'm sure I heard that gunshot. I remember exactly what the DJ was saying when I heard it, too.
You are listening to your radio at a high volume?
Yeah. What's the big problem? Can't a man listen to his radio in peace? Isn't this a free country?
I truly believe Larry has no idea what the problem here is. Judge, can you believe a word this witness says? He's clearly less reliable than the drunken man with memory loss who just testified.
What he heard was probably nothing more than a drum beat from the radio. True enough, it is difficult to believe this testimony. Wait, Your Honor. The witness said he remembers exactly what the DJ said when he heard the gunshot. Excuse me? DJ? An announcer. The guy who says things on the radio. Anyway, what this means is, when he heard the sound, no music was playing. The DJ only talks between songs, so he could have heard the gunshot from the lake. I'd like to cross-examine the witness, Your Honor. Very well, Mr. Wright. I can't believe I'm continuing this charade. What did he say? Mr. Wright, please cease these pointless questions. What possible good could knowing what a radio DJ said do us? It could pinpoint the time of the gunshot. Indeed, Mr. Von Karma has a point. I'll allow the question only if you see some reason why we should care. We should care, Your Honor. Of course we should. Bye. Well, how do you know if we don't ask, Damn it, I knew Phoenix wasn't gonna have that reason. Fine. Very well. Mr. Blutz, please testify to the court. What was the radio announcer saying when you heard the gunshot? Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. So Phoenix doesn't know why we're checking, but we checked for the right reason. Good. Just when she said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," I heard the gunshot. Are you sure? Of course I am. She had this real sexy voice. Maybe Von Karma was right. I'm not sure how that helped us at all. This is the most ludicrous testimony I've ever heard. That's just not true at all, Phoenix. You've only been... This is the 4th case you've ever been on, and you've heard far more ludicrous testimonies. But there's one gleaming ray of hope in there. We've got to press it until we can get to the bottom of what happened. Did he say he was still on the boat at this time, or was he back on shore? I guess he was back on shore. I think this is pretty good. I'll double check if there's anything... Has there been a testimony that wasn't ludicrous? Maybe? I can't think of one, though. Can't think of one. He does like to spend time talking about wasting time. That is true, Bad Bunny. So that should just be what I show, right? Well, I could show either one, honestly. I guess this is maybe even a better one to show. Yeah, I think this is probably the best one to show then. That's even better than the other photo. Larry, are you absolutely sure what you're saying is correct? Huh? What's with the face? You look scary, dude. Hey, if you're trying to scare me, you better know I don't scare that easy. There's something the matter, Mr. Wright. Your Honor, did you hear what the witness just said? The DJ said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," when he heard the gunshot. Indeed. And almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. Do you realize what this means? When he heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve. That would seem to be the case, yes. But he should have heard that gunshot after midnight. This photograph is irrefutable proof of the fact. Let's see what time was on the photo taken when this gun triggered Miss Hart's camera. 12:25 at 12:15. 15 minutes after midnight on Christmas Day. This is a clear contradiction, Your Honor.
Order! Order! What does this mean? The two prior witnesses heard gunshots after midnight. However, this witness says he heard a gunshot before midnight.
Judge, the answer is simple. The current witness is plainly mistaken. Just look at him. Suspicious.
What?
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think about Mr. Butt's claim that he heard the gunshot before midnight?
Larry's not mistaken, Your Honor. He heard that gunshot before midnight.
Intriguing. I'm assuming you have evidence for this wild claim. Yeah, it's the same evidence I've tried to present twice already. And the judge was like, it's irrelevant. You have to show me that later. Show me evidence there was a gunshot before midnight. This is my evidence. The murder weapon.
Something about this pistol was bothering me, Your Honor.
Yeah, something about it was bothering me. That's why I presented it twice, and the game's like, no, you can't.
Both of the witnesses who had testified yesterday heard 2 gunshots. However, the murder weapon was fired 3 times. When, then, was the last shot fired? Only now have I realized the truth. That third shot was the shot Larry heard just before midnight.
Order! Order! I guess that would make sense out of yesterday's testimonies. Bah! You waste our time again with your empty statements. Yes, the pistol was fired 3 times. But do you have any proof that it was fired before midnight? Do you have any proof that the witness didn't just think he heard something? Because apparently you need proof for these things, and I do not. Indeed. Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Do you have any evidence that proves there was a gunshot before midnight? Do you have evidence that proves Mr. Butts wasn't just hearing things?
Look at this photograph. This was taken by our witness yesterday, Miss Lotta Hart, with her automatic camera. The timestamp on the photo reads December 24th, 11:50 p.m.
Oh, yeah. But there's nothing on the lake in this picture.
Your Honor, the real issue here is not why nothing is shown in this photograph. It is why this photograph exists at all.
What do you mean?
Your Honor, this photograph was taken by an automatic camera. That camera was set to go off in response to loud noises.
Aha!
Correct. There was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50 p.m. I think we found our lake monster. And it's invisible. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, there was a gunshot at the time that Larry claims.
Order! Order! That would make sense of the evidence we've seen thus far. However, this leaves me wondering exactly what did happen that night on the lake.
Exactly. If this is true, there were 2 sets of gunshots, separated by 25 minutes. One at 11:50, another at 15 minutes after midnight. Why, I ask you? Why? Oh, I'd better think of something quick. Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 minutes?
Ah!
What's wrong, Nick? I have it. I have it! Huh? Remember the case with the Steel Samurai? Huh? Yeah, of course I remember. The murderer in this case had the same idea as the murderer in that case. What do you mean? Maya. Yes? If we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edgeworth's guilty verdict. I've got a hunch, and I'm going to run with it. Right. I mean, is this safe? Safe? We've already gotten a guilty verdict. We have nothing to lose. This is a pointless little side conversation. You just watch and let me know if I say anything that sounds fishy, okay? Right, Nick. Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Wright. The testimony just now has cleared up this entire case. Oh my god. Okay, at least you didn't say order this time. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? So, you finally realized the truth. There can be no murderer here other than Miles Edgeworth. Wrong, Von Karma. A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting. Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, one boat was on that lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on that boat. There was a gunshot fired on that boat, and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was only 1 meter. It couldn't have been suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be the other man on that boat. I admit, it is hard to imagine any other possibility. Even though my voice just clearly changed from the last time I spoke. Yes, but this assumes that the victim was shot at 15 minutes after midnight. What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting. The timestamp on the photo says 0015. But Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot on the lake. That's the only way that Edgeworth could be innocent. Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who this is sitting on the boat. So, I think it's Edgeworth and Hammond, right? Like it's still just Edgeworth and Hammond, but how do you how would he be on the boat faked? We don't have any evidence of drugging or anything. Edgeworth said he was in a dazed state, but apparently defendants don't testify in murder trials unless they're Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright defended or testified at his own trial, I guess, but why don't we know some things about this from Edgeworth? Edgeworth has told us almost nothing for no apparent reason. Makes no sense. So, I mean, this only makes sense if, Edgeworth went out on the boat with a body that was trussed up to not look dead in some fashion. That seems like a stretch even for Phoenix Wright. And they shot a dead body. Therefore, it's not a murder. Oh, man. Yeah, we only had one bullet from the body. Well, we only had one bullet they told us about. Knowing this game, it could be suddenly 2 bullets from the body. We withheld that evidence. I mean, I'm pretty sure we have enough exclamation marks just to get this wrong as much as we want, but
Let's see if anything else actually makes sense with what we've actually been told here. So Edgeworth said he was just like in a state of shock and picked up the gun. I mean, so Edgeworth said he was on the boat. You would think, like, we would know, like, Edgeworth would have at some point mentioned to someone who he was on the boat with. I mean, someone fell out of the boat, and Edgeworth was also on the boat, and Hammond was found fished out of the lake. I don't really know why Edgeworth was dazed in such a way that he was on the boat with a corpse, but that still seems the most Phoenix Wright logical, given what we've been told. I don't like it, though. This makes more sense than what we've been told. This makes more sense just, like, in a general sense. Like, I'm gonna pick this, they're gonna say it's wrong, and then we're gonna pick this, right? That's what we're doing here. And even though I know that's going to happen, I still want to pick this first, because given what we've been told, and we did see the body fall off of the thing into there, and they didn't find another body. Well, they could have swam, like they were still alive. They dropped the body in earlier. Okay. That sort of makes sense. So that would mean this is Edgeworth here. Alright, I guess we can pick this after all. Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth. What? Are you serious? Yes. Edgeworth won't tell us why he went to the lake that night. He said it was for Gordy, I think, actually. At least that's what he implied at one point. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Robert Hammond's place. I'm not sure what to make of all of this. Ludicrous! Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer then. The murderer's name? Right, it's... I don't know. Actually, I don't know the murderer's name. You don't know? Bah! Again, you waste my time. I don't know because he never told us. The murderer is a caretaker of the boat shop, that old man. Okay. At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond. A caretaker of the boat shop? Where did he do this? There weren't any boats on the lake then. Why would he have to go all the way out on the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest that the real scene of this crime was not in a boat? What? Well then, where did the murder take place? Show the judge where the real murder took place. Is there any reason it's not just at his shack? Is there any reason it actually is at his shack? Oh, I can't even look at other stuff now.
How can you kill someone if they're not in a boat? I don't know, man. This is a whole new concept to murder. So the camera is like over here. The camera's like over here facing out into the lake. I mean, really, gunshot's pretty freaking loud. So anywhere it could be close enough to trigger the camera, but closer is better, I guess. I'm trying to think of anything else that was amiss anywhere. Yeah, Larry's air tank kinda over here-ish or something. And Larry was like here-ish when he heard the shot. So 11:50. Wasn't anything on the lake. Gunshot was heard clearly from here and from here, but not seen. And if it was this close... But do we have any specific evidence like it's at any place? Like they would, if it's over here or something, then they'd have to shove the body out into the water. Maybe the murder was done on a hovercraft instead of a boat. Oh man. But yeah, here they would have to drag the body all the way to the water and dump it in. Yeah, the answer might be as simple as, like, anywhere on land, and it might be acceptable. Hey, Lance Fighter. I mean, if it's behind the car, then, like, because Lotta was there at the time, right? She was in her car, I think? So she would have known that the bullet shot was definitely not somewhere else, but if it's like over here or something, or over here, then she wouldn't necessarily know that. Alright, whatever, let's try somewhere over here and see if this works. Here, of course, the boat shop, where he lives. That way he could meet with the victim without anyone seeing it. Do you have proof that the boat shop was the scene of the crime? Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. Apparently I do, because I didn't think I did. That night he was out on the lake in a boat, searching for something. He finds it, and returns the boat. Then, as he's starting to head for home, he hears a gunshot. He heard a gunshot, Your Honor. So? Gunshots are really loud? Even though he was wearing oh, I guess that's the argument. Even though he was wearing headphones at the time. You just don't normally even let you go loud enough to possibly drown out a gunshot even if you're like across the lake. He didn't really clarify how loud it... In other words, the gunshot was very, very close by. Sure. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat? The boat shop. Mr. Wright, what happened that night on Gourd Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning. Yes, Your Honor, because this is my job. I have to do everything. It was just a pistol, sure, but I don't know. It's implied that this lake is not terribly big. Nick, are you sure about this? Not really. But I think if I just start at the very beginning, and I take it slow, I might just be able to figure this out. That night, the caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop. This was around 11:50. That was when the gunshot, around, I guess if the camera's time is off, that was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. Then he got into the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake.
Then, who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Wright?
Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice. Both missed Edgeworth on purpose.
Wait a minute!
Yes?
Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone?
Details. Know this, Mr. Wright. The moment you run out of explanations is the moment you lose. Tell us why the murderer had to fire twice. I believe he shot twice to create a witness, Your Honor.
Create a witness?
The murderer lifts his pistol and fires one shot. That ensures that anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Indeed, Miss Hart did exactly that after hearing the first gunshot. Next, the murderer waits a bit and he fires again. Then, the murderer jumps from the boat himself, leaving the pistol in the boat behind him.
I see. To someone looking from the edge of the lake, it would appear that one of the men on the boat had shot the other.
The murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice to draw attention to the boat. Once you realize that, everything else falls into place. The boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop. Then he put Mr. Hammond's wet coat back on the body, and threw the body into the lake. This is what happened, Your Honor. These are the events that transpired that night on Gourd Lake. He slams the gavel and doesn't even say anything.
Bailiff, bring out the witness from before. The boat shop caretaker, quickly! Very well. While we are waiting for the caretaker, I would like to ask the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, a few questions.
What? Why would you only ask him questions now? What is this? What is... Come on! What do you even... You already announced a guilty verdict, but now it's like, alright, maybe to pass the time, let's ask the murder defendant a few questions. That's true, Gib. I literally can't even. That is quite true.